чудесный. Я тут турели гатлинга
Good.
расхерачил.
Now let's see what we can do to deactivate this alarm. So, did it work? Damn it, but... Run!
Так на чем я в тот раз стрим завершил, это и сейчас повторилось. Когда ты от этой турели дурацкой умираешь, такое происходит говно. Интересно. Это первый баг в этой модификации, который я, по-моему, заметил. По этой причине умирает турель, у тебя тупо зависает игра.
Good. Now, let's see what we can do to deactivate this alarm. So, did it work? Damn it, but... Run!
Вау, это было близко.
By the wise hermit. That was close.
Yes, it was. I would be if I had been on board the ship when that flying thing attacked us. Luckily, I wasn't. Legion didn't make it. It all just happened too fast.
Shit. That makes us the only survivors.
The only ones. So the Starling and the Magistrate didn't make it either? Oh, Kirash, how many more must die? Magistrate Jaela, she didn't deserve that. I'm ashamed to ask, but what about the Numenos? Did you find anything out about it? A map. This is what I call a coincidence. I think I know where we can find one. And up there could also be our passage back.
Up where?
Follow me, I'll show you.
How did you make it here anyway? And what is this, some kind of tunnel system?
I think so, yes. They must have been shortcuts for the ones tasked with keeping this place running to quickly get from one point to the other. Just what we need right now. And concerning your first question, I suppose I simply got lucky. There was another entrance to the tower we overlooked.
I see. Well, that's at least one lucky break with these tunnels.
Let's hope so.
Что произошло? О, цветовая гамма поменялась. Отличное место для того, чтобы напал дракон. Ну да.
Damn it, that just landed, didn't it? To the other building, quickly.
Точно, если я его убью консоли, он не умрет с концами. Ну вообще, да, если его даже консоли убить. Если бессмертно. Ладно, не знаю, мало ли кого я тут убью.
To the other building, quickly.
Я лучше загружусь. А я... Не, ну я хочу с ним подраться. Будет такая возможность?
That won't hold up for long. Care to fill us in on your plan now, girl?
First, we need to find the map. And then, well, then we each take a seat in one of these capsules and let ourselves drop.
We let ourselves drop.
They are escape pods. Kormai had similar ones in the airship, and I just hope they work as intended. Unless you have a better plan, of course.
I'm afraid not.
Good. Then get going. Let's find that map.
Да, дверь с таким звуком так... Ай, в смысле? Что делать надо? А, карты искать. Ладно. Откуда мне? Я в аналоге карту эту искать? Даже не понимаю, о чем речь.
by the wise hermit. You're well. Either these ancient starfolk had butts made of shadow steel, or they should seriously rework the landing parts of these things. Come on, let's go look for the girl. She can't be far from here.
Неплохие такие десантные капсулы. Кажется, или она лежит.
Over there. Oh
А,
my.
понятно.
She lives. Looks like a minor laceration to me and maybe a broken rib. I guess the force of the impact threw her against this rock. Still, we should get her to a healer. Do you have the map? I think teleport magic should work again down here. Good. Then at least all this wasn't for nothing. Let's go.
Да, я если... Блять. А если я хотела отметить тот лог, который рядом находилась? В принципе, уже не важно.
So the High Ones devour our consciousnesses. Now that's what I call ironic. Maybe Koarik and his free people do become part of these higher beings they so adore after all. We should tell them. Maybe they'll be so delighted that they will abandon the siege and sail right back to Naren.
Spare us your jests. Archmagister, how long will you need to decipher the map? Archmagister?
I don't know. A couple of days, at least. I should start right away. Excuse me.
What's the matter with him?
Jaela was his mentor during his novitiate. But he will get over it. He has to. You did well, Prophetess. Despite the complications, the mission was a complete success.
A complete success? What in blazes has happened to you, Tila?
Nothing. And now is not the time for quarreling.
Yela is dead, Tila. Just like Jorek. Jorek for the name of the gods. And none of this would have happened if we had just given Quarik this idiotic machine. Please, Tila, if my opinion means anything to you, let go of this madness.
I don't care about your opinion. Yorick was a traitor, and Jaela gave her life for something greater than herself. But the latter in particular seems to be something you cannot relate to. Now, silence. I've had enough of your attempts to hinder our mission. Back to the topic at hand. Sharon, what do you make of Jaela's plan to use the word of the dead to enter a High One's mind? I always thought it only enabled its user to relive the last memories of the deceased.
Well, if the High Ones are made of a collective subconsciousness, they are different in that regard. They consist only of memories, and a lot of them. That is, of course, if the Magistra's theory about them is true.
I'm no sage, but having seen the Starling's murals, I'd say it is. Mankind ascends to become a High One. This is what the cleansing really is.
Then it might work. Used on a High One, the word of the dead could allow us to enter its spirit.
We will take the risk. The walls still hold against Korik's armies, but we need to hurry. As soon as the Arcanists have figured out the map, we will set out to find this city of 1,000 floods. If you have any unfinished business to attend to, you should do it now. Many things will be decided by what's to come. I feel it. And the apothecary said that Sister Sakarish will live. She's in the Curarium, in case you want to pay a visit.
Pathlessness wherever you look. Where is this supposed to be?
Yes, it makes sense.
Yes.
Is it now? Remind me not to burst into tears.
Yes. Koarek will not dare sending his troops straight against our walls. That would be tactical suicide. For now, we are safe. However, the Red Madness is getting worse by the minute. The cleansing is closing in. I can feel it. The same I thought before. They are our enemies, and they want to destroy us. I do not care about their motives, even though I have to admit that knowing their true nature is a disquieting thought. An entity created from the collective consciousness of a civilization. Something like that should not be allowed to exist. You know, I know Natara better than you might believe. And I know the reason for her untouchable demeanor. Fear. She's afraid of losing something important to her. Something that she helped to create, and that is the Order. You probably do not know this, but unlike most keepers, Natara was not born of the Sublime Path. Even more than us, she had to fight for her place here. And through immense willpower and discipline, she made it. Not only to become an ordinary keeper, but into the highest league. Correct. It is all she has ever lived for, and she's afraid that change will destroy it. Your admission into our ranks, our truce with Narazul's mages. She believes that my imprisonment made me into a fool whose only intent is to get his will. She does not realize that all that has happened burdens me as much as it burdens her, and that I would give a lot for her support, rather than this ridiculous bickering. That's none of your concern, but I presume you have your assumptions. Everybody needs someone to back them up from time to time. You know, as humans, we are not so different from animals as some try to make us believe. We are like wolves, and every pack needs a leader. Someone in front who is not afraid to make the hard calls. And this is who I am. I did not ask for it, but I will not fail. If my resolve weakens, the others will lose their courage, and I cannot let that happen. But that does not mean that I regret any of the decisions I have made. None of them.
A machine that can banish these High Ones. The mysteries of
Да,
this
с кем
world.
можно еще поговорить? Похороны можно сгонять. Зарез гонять.
The endless, aren't they?
А куда? Кто куда? Можно понять. Там мне маркер показывает. Это в лазарет. Это на похороны. Это сначала в зарет.
You were the one on Half Moon Island, weren't you? Walk blessed.
Saira, what are you doing here? Better. Thanks for asking. I suppose it looked worse than it actually ended up being. I see. I don't think this is the end, though. I will be back on my feet again in a couple of hours and will help defend the temple. Nothing is worse than lying around like this. Just find the Numinos for us, Saira. That is all that matters.
Ну, теперь можно на похорон сходить.
Walk blessed.
Same shit.
Huh?
А где они происходят, точно не пойму. Это в жопу показывать.
And so the circle closes, as it does for these 3 virtuous souls we are mourning today. But fear not, for they gave their life for a just cause, for the greater good, and will thus be walking on the endless paths forever, together with our Lord Malthus. Magistra Jaela, keeper of the 3rd sigil and master of the archives. Stalwyn Willowsong, keeper of the 1st sigil, and Legium Lightman novice. May the Lord receive your souls today and grant you that you may walk the paths for eternity.
Oh, just shut up, won't you? As if you believe any of this yourself.
Keeper, you...
Malthus is dead. Our Lord is dead. And if even he could not last through the ages, how is he supposed to lead us along the eternal paths? A dead god?
Take her away.
Yes, just go on. Close your eyes and pretend that none of this is happening. It's what you've always been good at. The cleansing is our punishment, don't you see?
I just don't see the fucking point.
The punishment because we failed the Lightborn. That we let someone kill them. And the High Ones will take us all. Do you hear me? They will take us all.
Keep going.
But...
Keep going!
Magistra Jaela, keeper of the 3rd sigil and master of the archives. Stalwyn Willowsong, keeper of the 1st sigil. And Legium Lightman novice. May the Lord receive your souls today and grant you that you may walk the paths for eternity.
Yes.
Что там было в посылке написано? Заводы достигать 55 уровня. Заклятие какие-то, что ли, интересные торгаши появляются. То есть нахер интересное заклятие на 55 уровне. По сути, и конец игры.
my Dame Delina. And I felt
Hey there. It's good to see you. So, shall we do this? The Grandmaster said Sharim was able to decipher the old maps. Good. I don't mind too much, actually. I've got a bad feeling about this.
Неужели все-таки это наконец конец игры? Конечно, сохранись отдельно.
All right then. I guess there's no point in delaying the inevitable any further, is there? You go on ahead.
Prophetess, there's good news. We were able to decipher the Starling's maps, and we now know where to find the City of 1,000 Floods. Sharon was just about to explain. Sharon, Prophetess.
Yes. I suppose you already know that Vin hasn't always been like it is now. In the time of the Pyreans, it was one big continent, which they called Pangora. Only the Starfall, in the era of Azataron's madness, split it apart. In other words, the Pyreans dominated the entire world as it was back then. It was a world empire. However, until recently, we always thought that the Empire's capital, the City of 1,000 Floods, was situated somewhere near where Kira is today. We were wrong about that. It was here, in Enderal.
Here?
Here, beneath our feet, to be precise.
Under Ark?
Yes. We don't know whether it was a coincidence that Malfa's vassals set the foundation of Ark here, out of all the places they could have. But they did. The heart of the Pyrean Empire was here, right where we stand. Only it's buried now. Hardly.
Sadly, the Order never cared much for archaeology. We considered it a useless endeavor. And even if there had been private undertakings, the dangers such an expedition posed, let alone its costs, would have scared off most investors.
But still, you're right. If the Order would have bothered, we could have saved ourselves a lot of trouble. However, it doesn't matter now. What matters is we now know where the last cleansing took place, and that it's somewhere we can reach. True. But there might be another way. Do you know the myth of the Black Guardian? The Endralians believe that there is some kind of demon deep down below the surface, and that you can even hear him scream if you just listen carefully. Rubbish, of course, but I think that these screams are the sound of wind. And if there's wind...
There are tunnels. So you're saying that the Undercity's cavern reaches that deep? Into the City of Floods?
Into what is left of it. All we need to do is find an entrance point that can lead us down.
Then we leave without further delay. There's no point in leading an army down there, so the four of us will go alone. Prophetess, speak to the Archmagister and tell him to give you the word of the dead and the container for the Numenors. We will need both. He's at the beacon.
Shouldn't we at least think this through before we go?
Ready your equipment. We'll meet at the gate to the Undercity.
walk blessed. Oh, Aren't you... Never mind. How can I help you? He was. But he went to get something. Why don't you wait until he comes back? I have to admit that it's a great honor to finally meet you in person. You know, when all this started, when the Grand Master exalted you, I thought it was a sin. Granting an outlander what we have to fight so hard for. But now... Phew! I think Malthus, or whoever sent you, that he did. We owe you a lot. Really. Oh, don't thank me. Say... may I ask you something? The beacon. Do you really think it'll work? I mean, I'm just a novice, but... if it can really banish the High Ones, how come the Pyreans couldn't save themselves? I just don't understand. You know, I lost someone not too long ago. It was the Naramis, under the command of that butcher Korik. My family has a small farm near the coast, and when the first of the Naramis ships landed, I immediately rode to them, to get them into the city, into safety. I'm sorry. This isn't easy. Our farm. It's on a small cliff near the farmer's coast. Just a few miles from Ark. I already had a bad feeling when I set out. And then I saw the smoke. And then there was that smell. And... the smell of burnt meat. It was everywhere. I rode faster and faster, and then, when I got to the house, I saw that it was on fire, and that someone had put up 3 crosses, and they were burning too. My mother, my father, and my sister, they were still alive, you know? And I just stood there, and there was nothing I could do. Do you understand? Nothing. And it doesn't matter how I try to look at it. It all amounts to one thing. I was too weak. I was too late, and I was too weak. That wouldn't have happened to you, would it? You would have done something. You would have saved them. Just as you'll save us. If I could just be more like you, then Your flesh. Yes, that's it. All I need is a piece of your flesh. And nothing like that will ever happen again. Why? Is that so hard to understand? I don't want much, just a small piece of it. But you just don't want to share, isn't that it? You want it all for yourself. Because you're vain. And in all your damn vanity, you don't even see the futility of the whole thing. The beacon won't burn. It never will. Thousands have tried it before you. Thousands who are as arrogant as you are. And they all failed.
How did they say? Just let yourself fall.
Because the light will burn you. It will devour you. Until there's nothing left of you. Nothing but burnt flesh.
You're familiar with that, aren't you? Prophetess.
We need to stop them.
Ай-яй-яй-яй-яй-яй, меня за что?
By the name of the sun. They were possessed. How is that possible? I thought the sigil stone protects us. Oh, of course. Wait. The damage is within acceptable limits. Nothing we shouldn't be able to repair. But wait, what is that noise? Oh, by the righteous path. I think you should see this.
Я что, пиздил кто?
What in blazes happened here? And what is that noise?
The Neremese. They are in the city. Their entire army.
What? No, this is impossible. This is impossible! And this? What's the meaning of this bloodbath?
I don't know, Grandmaster. The High Ones somehow were able to possess the Keepers here. They tried to destroy the beacon and kill the Prodigy.
What? But the stone,
Grandmaster, you have to see this.
What? That the Neremese are in the city? I know that already.
No, we know how they did it. The true Chessa betrayed us.
Nonsense.
It's the truth. She and almost a third of the Keepers followed Bartar's example. Come, you should hear it for yourself. I ordered that the temple gates be closed right away and positioned archers on the battlements. At least for now, none of these Neremese bastards will enter the temple. There. She survived it. Open your eyes, traitor.
What? Hi, Grandmaster. I'm so sorry. It shouldn't have happened like that. Oh, my Malthus. What have I done?
Tell us what happened.
Of course, Grandmaster. I will. The Trichessa. She contacted Korak and asked for...
We need to get him to the Curarium.
We will, once we're done. Continue. The Trichessa arranged a meeting with Korak. What did she want from him?
A truce. She offered him the city. If he would promise not to harm anyone. She had this stone. You know, the sigil stone that protects us Keepers from the High Ones. Korak. He agreed. But once the gates were open, he...
Killed everyone.
Yes, the Trichessa. He just... Even though she kept her end of the bargain. Then they swarmed into the city and... Oh, by Malphas, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Take her to the Corarian.
Yes, yes, of course, Grandmaster. Lirum, Yetter, bring me a stretcher.
Wait. You have to forgive me. I mean, we only wanted the best. You have to believe me. Please don't let me die as a pathless. Please.
I forgive you. Now go.
Yes. Yes, of course, Grandmaster.
What are your orders, Grandmaster? We aren't many, but if we use cunning, we might be able to drive them back out of...
We will not. We are no more than 6 up here, and the Narimis are thousands. And both our black powder and our boiling oil are in the barracks.
Then it's over. We have lost.
What? No! Nothing is over! They can't be that far into the city yet. We only have to drive them out of the gates, and then...
And how exactly are you planning to do that? By loading the cannons with sugar mint and shooting balls of herbs at the Naramis? Great idea, really.
You sodding!
Quiet! Narajil and Sharim are right, Commander. Arg is lost. But our war against the High Ones isn't. The beacon still stands, and it will continue to do so as long as we hold the temple. We've lost the battle, yes, but not the war. All we need is the Numenors, and then the beacon will be lit.
And what then? I don't think Korak will withdraw once we've destroyed his vision of this ascent.
Correct, he won't. Which is why we will surrender.
What?
It is the only way. As I said to the Chichesa before, this war is about more than just us. If we choose to give up now, or if we choose to fight and die down there, Korek will destroy the beacon either way and let the cleansing happen. We will prevent that at all costs. Which is why we will find the Numenors, light the beacon, and then surrender.
And what? Hope for mercy? Korak has more than once demonstrated what he means by mercy.
I am not hoping for mercy. We will die, but there is no alternative. Korek isn't man enough to participate in the battle himself. So even if we were to break out and fight, all we would do is kill his delusional soldiers. And their deaths would be as pointless as this entire war. Once the High Ones are vanquished, we've done our duty. That's it.
But no! We are warriors, and true warriors fight! You've said
True
that!
warriors ask questions. Like the question, when does a battle for ideals become nothing more than a battle for vanity? Those soldiers down there, Commander, they are nothing more than butchers. But we are more than that. But I will not stop you. As soon as the beacon is lit, you're free to flee. But for now, you will hold this place at all costs while we search for the Numenors. Archmagister, do you have the word of the dead?
I do, yes. But how do you plan to get into the Undercity from here? The entire city is swarming with Korax's soldiers.
Leave that to me. Commander Aaron, gather the remaining keepers and arcanists. I will adjust them. You all know what has happened. We were betrayed by our own brothers and sisters. As we speak, people are dying, slaughtered by the Narimis, who think we are their enemy. And I know what you are feeling right now. Anger. Anger aimed at those in our ranks who did this to us. But you're wrong. Despite their deed, they wanted to protect us, to fulfill their holy duty. And the same applies to Koarek and his soldiers. Yes, they are deluded. Yes, they have committed crimes past redemption, but they, too, only did what they thought was right. If there is someone to blame in all this, it's the High Ones, and no one else. They, brothers and sisters, they are the ones responsible. They have no mind, no compassion, no soul, and their only reason for existing is to destroy. They are cowards who act out of the shadows and play us against each other like puppets on strings. And right now, they think they have won. They think they can defeat us. But they will fail, because we are still here. We have the beacon, the only thing capable of stopping all this madness, and that is exactly what we're going to do. After that, you are free to go. Flee, fight, do whatever you think is best. I myself will surrender, because every drop of blood spilled after we have done our duty and destroyed the High Ones is useless. And even if the Neramis kill me, my death will be a sign. A sign that people like Koarek will never understand. Hatred breeds hatred. This is what history has taught us, and this is what makes the High Ones strong. Stand by me when the time comes, or go. But until then, fight.
Let's hope he knows what he's doing.
It's just madness, all of it.
Follow me. We will talk in the Emporium.
All honor.
Там мне метку показывает. Вверх. Чтоб еще выше подняться.
The prodigy, huh? Apparently we owe you for the shards of this sigil stone. I didn't think I would ever say this, but thank you.
Понял.
And there she goes. 4,000 years this city has stood. And now she is aflame. It is a tragedy. There is another way. I suppose you already know that the Order was never proud of the fact that something like the Undercity exists. And due to your dealings with the Relata, you also know that we, the Order, had an informal agreement with them. They rule the underground and we rule the surface. In reality, however, this is only half the truth. We never handed over the reins entirely. There is a Plan B in case things get out of control and the Undercity's inhabitants revolt, like they did once during the Blood Moon riots. Probably. I will make it short. There's a set of tunnels throughout the King's Mountain on which this temple was built, and they lead all the way down into the Undercity. They were built to release poison gas into the entire cave system. It would have been an option. With the gates to the surface barred, no one would have survived. Down and back up again, yes. The Nerimes do not know about these tunnels, and when they find out, it will be too late. We descend, we find the Numenors in the City of Floods, and we light the beacon. After that, you know what I will do. There is a way into the tunnels through the dungeons of this temple. Meet me and Sharim there once you're ready to depart. And bring the mercenary with you. Prepare yourself. We will meet in the dungeon.
So what did the Grand Master say? Poison gas. Now if that isn't yet another example of the unimpeachable holiness of the Holy Order. But I guess a way down is better than none. There was one thing I wanted to ask you before we leave. If things work out the way the Grand Master thinks they will you give yourself to Korak as he said he would? I'm glad you see it that way. Anyway, I'll go catch up with Meister Cynical and our esteemed Grand Master. Couldn't ask for better company on a suicide mission like this. Just meet me at the dungeon once you're ready to set out.
У меня долго будет туда-сюда по локациям, когда начнется замес. Как вы здесь прошли и на вас крысы не напали?
They're here. One moment.
Interesting lock.
It's a sigil, and it can only be opened by one bearing the Grandmaster's sword. Follow me.
So easy.
What a waste of time. You will not stop us! case you were wondering, those three water gates up there contain the Starling machinery which releases the poison gas. As long as we do not open them, we can pass safely through the tunnels.
So, this tunnel system, how many exit points does it have? I assume that a single exit into the Undercity wouldn't have sufficed to poison it all by itself, would it?
No. There are a total of 8 exits. And we will be using the one that leads into the Crow District.
Блин.
Contain the Starling machinery releases the poison gas. As long as we do not open them, we can pass safely through the tunnels. No. There are a total of 8 exits, and we will be using the one that...
That's so. And the radiant being which was Malthus turned away and extended its arms towards the sky. And thousands of lightning bolts crashed down onto the wretched city, destroying everything. Even the shack of Keteron and Selma itself. Yes. And those who still doubted the divinity of the Lightborn after their revelation were smitten apart. The smell of smoke and embers. Smoke and embers for the infidels. It doesn't sound too peaceful to me. Wouldn't you agree?
Let it go, Friar. They've already passed judgment.
Wise words, old man.
А, их спасти, что ли, можно было? А.
This is the place. Sharim?
Yes, take cover.
Impressive.
Entropy.
Lead the way, prophetess. You know what we are looking for.
Huh? Что за скримеры? Hey, you all right? You look pale for some reason. It was the echo, wasn't it? Stronger?
You will not stop us! Never!
Damn it, lost ones. What is it with their eyes?
Waste of time. The High Ones. They're trying to prevent us from reaching the temple.
You will not stop us! Never!
need to get down there.
He has betrayed us! Jakal opened the gates and now they're killing everyone!
The temple! Retreat to the
You
temple!
had a choice, and you've chosen ignorance. Now pay the price.
What did you see? What?
In other words, all that we have done so far is almost identical to how things went for the Pyreans. We are still part of the pattern.
But does that mean everything we've achieved hasn't made any difference at all? That we found the Black Stones, the ancient starlings?
All that the Prophet has seen is that someone betrayed the Pyreans too, and that this jackal was deluded as this fool Korek. We knew that already. We are the first to be so close to lighting the beacon. I can feel it.
Кажется, я стал чем-то супер быстро. У меня что-то сломалось. Знать, я почему-то очень быстро. Ладно.
Yes.
Watch out.
Ну что ты тупишь, Старый? Давай иди быстрее.
Wow, what is this? Some kind of messed up puppet theater? How can these corpses still be here after all this time? They should have decayed long ago.
Good question.
Prophetess.
It looks like magic to me. Look at how gray their skin is. Like ashes.
I see, the cleansing did this to them, right? This must have been their final moments before the High Ones devoured them.
I fear you're right. They must have tried to get into the temple, into safety. In vain. This is tragic.
Yes, very tragic. Are you done?
Of course.
Impressive.
I suppose. Of company.
You are impressive, you know that? Everything around you is falling apart.
yet you refuse to give up. Tell us, Seranthiel, what makes you keep going?
Are you trying to manipulate me? If so, save your breath and fight instead.
Oh my, so grim. Be if everything could just be killed, wouldn't it? Even the past. Tell us, do your companions know the truth about